Electronic Transimulation Wattkinesis. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. So it's one of those type of hand traps. Then target a monster your opponent controls. Move that target to another of your opponent's main monster zones.
What's the question?
Is this supposed to be a direct counter to Jack Knights? Let's talk about it. If your opponent controls World Scars in the extra monster zone, of course, and they control at least one Jack Knight in the main monster zone, obviously not pointing to World Scars because that would prevent its protection from being active, but you could move that monster to where World Scars points to, preventing its protection. Or you could move World Scars down to the main monster zone.
That is so petty!
But I like it though.
What else?
Key, Whisper, and True Depths negate something if that something was activated in the same column as Jack Knight monster. We don't know if they're going to have all three on the field with Jack Knights in the same column. But if you have a spell, trap, or monster
effect
that needs to resolve and you have this in hand or field because it's one of those, send it to the graveyard, move that Jack Knight out the way, activate your card or effect.
Do your thing.
Unironically, Jack Knight Azure Flame kinda helps against this. This really isn't searchable, except by Watt Cobra, cause it has Watt in its name. But it's a psychic type, not thunder, so it don't work with the fam. That's what I call the Thunder family. Besides those people, you're not gonna see people play Watt Cobra to search this, unless they're playing Watts.
Nah.
Back to what I was saying. If you're intending to side this against Jack Knights, they have a higher chance of getting to Azure Flame before you get to this. And perhaps I'm talking way too far ahead in the future, but I tend to do that sometimes when I'm talking about cards. Do you have a problem with that? No?
Well, I think.
Interestingly enough, this isn't once per turn. I don't think it had to be once per turn, but you know Konami, they're rather special education on what they put restrictions on. But the only restriction this has is, if you could call it one, you can only target your opponent's monsters, which I guess is fair. Besides Jack Knights, it can
Possibly.
counter other things that care about zone column placement, such as Magic Bullet, Magical Musketeer. I'm still gonna call him Magic Bullet. Need spell and traps to activate in the same column they're in for them to do stuff. So if you move a cast bar to another zone before cast bar's effect to search activates, they get no search. And before somebody asks this stupid question,
What about Weathery?
whether you're bad, and that's coming from a guy that likes them a lot, and if you thought this was good against them,
Somebody lied to you.
because they banish is cost to activate their effects given to them by the Weathery patterns. So even though they do care where they are in relation to the patterns, they can just banish themselves. Do yourself a favor, don't worry about Weathery, because they're bad. Now back to me talking my shit. All Link monsters, while in the main monster zone, only point to a maximum of 2 main monster zones.
So?
If you move a Link monster in the main monster zone to another zone, your opponent can only do so much. Take, for example, Firewall Dragon. If your opponent happens to have it in the main monster zone linked to 3 Link monsters, it's possible. You can use this and move it to either the right or the leftmost main monster zone. You do this to break the link between Firewall Dragon and the other Link monsters, and also preventing your opponent from perhaps achieving the extra link. In case you weren't keeping up, keep up!
Y'all sleeping?
Or if your opponent summons a Link monster in the extra monster zone that points downwards but doesn't point upwards, such as Link Spider, Mrs. Radiant, Miss Starboy, you can push it to the main monster zone. Yeah, they can still use it as link material, but usually the initial link summon is very important for things to keep going, and it's going to be even more important going forward. So, without removing it, negating summons or effects, or even taking control of it, you basically give your opponent
The dick.
just by moving it to another zone. It also has actual attack, 1800. So worst case scenario, but it's not really that bad of a scenario, you can summon an attack with it. I'm not gonna say that this card is needed, but it is nice to have it than not to have it. But with all that being said,
Let's get one thing straight, nigga.
this is no Ash Blossom, that forehead though. So you do not main it unless something like Jackknife becomes the meta. And also, you can target your own monsters, but it can be used while on the field or in the hand.
Facts.
Unless you're in denial, the main reason why this card is even playable in the first place is because it can target Link monsters in the extra monster zone. I kind of feel like it's a bit petty. It's more amusing than petty. That you can take your opponent's Link monster
And push it somewhere else.
And with that being said, thanks for watching. If an ad shows up, I would ask you to click what to watch what if you would like to.
Help me. Help me.
Without spending your own money. Patreon and my PayPal links in the description if you want to give me your money though. Just throwing it out there. Thank you very much in advance. You have my gratitude. Discord server link in the description.
I appreciate you.